Saludos y bienvenidos a todos to the PGP podcast. Hey, Josh the Watt Power Principal of Memorial Pathway Academy in Garland, SD, Garland, USA, ready to rock and roll with another great show. 44 shows, awesomeness all the way across, starting from our happy show, number 2 last week with Katie Kinder, Phil. I mean, we had so many great guests all the way to number 1 with retired superintendents, retired educators. It's all about becoming that best version of ourselves by getting those nuggets of knowledge. And today is no different. The goal of this show is always to promote and connect individuals. I love watching podcasts. I love hearing different articles, and I always post it out there on social media because sometimes some of us don't have time for that. And today is a specific show that has to do with a great conference, and we'll get into the details about that. So thank you very much for whenever you're seeing this, whether you're seeing it live today or you're seeing it on a rebroadcast later on your times. I appreciate it. And if you want to be part of this conversation, you want to be part of this awesome panel, please reach out to me or Dr. Moreno. You might be asking, where is Dr. Moreno? No, she's not in Africa with the hippos. No, she's not running with ostriches. She's back in the USA, but she's part of the panel because she's part of the North Carolina Middle School Conference. And we'll get into that right now. So please reach out. Make sure that you're part of this connected group. Let me get started right now with our Chinchilagua moment. Chinchilagua. David James is like, they don't have Chinchilagua in North Carolina. What is that? Darren, he hasn't heard about Chinchilagua in Nebraska at all. Eric, probably Eric, because he's an Arizonian guy. Don Parker, I don't know. He's probably at the gym growing them guns right now. But Chinchilagua is a game played by Mexicans. And what you do is you line up against a wall, a big tree during big family celebrations, and you run across and you jump on top of each other. You keep on going, and it's all fun and games. It's all happiness until someone gets hurt. So my thought today is this. You know, PDs are so great. PDs are an awesome thing. My very first experience was thanks to Mr. Lorenzo Mata, one of the individuals that got me to where I'm at right now in El Paso. He took me to NASSP for the very first time, and that's when I learned about Todd Whitaker. I didn't know who Todd Whitaker was because in El Paso, it's such a closed niche, and they think that they only have the knowledge. And once he took us out there and I didn't know these conferences, especially national conferences. And when I heard all these great things from people from Tennessee, from Wisconsin, from Iowa, I'm like, oh, wow. It opens up your eyes. From that moment forward, I've been hooked into going and attending to conferences, whether it be paid. And until one conference I heard, I think it was TASSP, the Texas affiliate of NASSP. They said, one speaker, I don't remember who it was, I wish I could give him credit. He said, you know what? You got to break out of your own pocket to become the better version of yourself. You need to spend some of that money so that you are beholden to your own learning. Because sometimes, whether we have campus-based PD, district-based PD, a lot of times we feel that it's not a connection with us. It's nothing that will improve us. So you, my friend, in Nebraska, you, my friend, in Colorado, in Wyoming, set those funds aside so that you can go attend these state national conferences so that you give your students the best version of yourself. And if you pick up 5 or 6 extra nuggets, hey, that can only enhance you, your teaching, your pedagogy, but most importantly, the students in your classroom. So take that time to have fun at those conferences and enjoy that time, but most importantly, learn from others. Because, you know, when you think you're at your A game and you run into that person that does the same thing as you, but better, it only helps you. Look at yourself, like Principal Cafella says, looking in the mirror, and iron sharpens iron. You look to becoming the best version of yourselves. So, and on a flashback moment today, I'd like to reach out and check out episode number 3 with one of our guests. Eric Francis has been here before. That's why I had to change some of the questions, Eric. And we look at episode 7. Don Parker was here with our workout show, our Educators Physically Fit show. And we had Darren Peppard on the road to awesome, episode 10. You have great guests in the past, in the future, because it's about learning from each other. Remember that we are part of the Fantastic Four. The PGP podcast is anchor of Sean Hurt on Saturdays, Shika and Tammy following him at 10:30, and Principal Cafele 10:55. And we're the 4th show of the Fantastic Four. But without further ado, let's get started and let's bring in these awesome guests today. The Big Kahuna himself. On the road to awesome. Mari, Dr. Don Parker, Eric Francis, everyone is in the house. Welcome. Welcome to the PGP podcast. And we're going to get, all of you know the routine. You've been here before. Mari really knows the routine. So we're going to get started with David James because he does not know the routine of the PGP podcast. So let us know what your current role is right now, David. Let us know what your current role, what other roles you've served, and which one has been your favorite. Because you know what? It's about dropping that street cred. So when people go to conferences, they need to know, does that cat have street cred? Can I listen to them? It's all about that. David James, take it away.
Thank you for having me, Josh. I don't know about my street cred in this crowd right here, but first and foremost, and probably my favorite, I'm a 7th grade social studies teacher in North Carolina. I teach at Harold E. Winkler Middle School, just north of Charlotte. I've been at Winkler Middle School for about 10 years. I did a little bit of a stint as an assistant principal as well, but I got called back into the classroom, and that's where I do my best work. I am a middle school person through and through, worked in the middle schools for all the years of my career. Lived in the Charlotte area for about 15 years, originally from the state of Ohio. And about 5 years ago, I had the opportunity to kind of stretch myself with a little advocacy work here in North Carolina, working for the North Carolina Association for Middle Level Education. So that's why we're here tonight to talk about our annual conference. We are going on year 52 of our annual conference, something we're really, really proud of. So in about 2 weeks from today, kind of right on the hour at about 7 o'clock Eastern time, on March 23rd, we are going to be welcoming about 500 educators into Charlotte, North Carolina for the 2025 NCMLE Middle School Matters Conference. So thank you to everybody that's here tonight to give us this platform and give NCMLE this platform to kind of talk about what we got going on in the state, and then countrywide. I mean, everybody in this meeting tonight is from all over the country, and we're really proud of what we have created in NCMLE. And we will see you in about 2 weeks. Thanks for everybody for joining us tonight, and for everybody that's joining us in Charlotte here very, very soon.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing. You were getting ahead of the questions right there, but I'm glad you stopped it right there. On the road to awesome, a great author, a recovering high school principal. I don't know. He's got a resume this big. Darren Pepper, take it away.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Darren Pepper, road to awesome, live in Nebraska, Wyoming kid, everything from middle school teacher through, you mentioned high school principal. I was a superintendent. My role now, I grow educators. That's what I do at Road to Awesome. We work with schools, we work with leaders. We are all about gaining clarity, being intentional, and getting people to walk in their purpose. So that's what we do. I forgot the rest of the questions.
What's your favorite one?
My favorite what?
Role that you serve.
My favorite role? Well, I'm a recovering high school principal, man. I'm telling you, I loved being a high school principal. I did love being a middle school teacher, though. I will say that. I was an 8th grade science teacher. I coached basketball. I coached football. I even coached baseball one year. Really had no idea what I was doing, but I had a lot of fun. Worked on my tan. I was in Arizona at the time. That's a good place to coach baseball. So, but yeah, high school principal without question.
I don't know, my amigo. I think you're being a politician there. You're supposed to select one, but it's all right. I love it.
Well, I'm not capable. My resume's too long. I get a bonus.
There you go. Dr. Don Parker in the house. Talk to us.
In the house. What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Dr. Don Parker. Hey, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me, Josh. Hey, you know what? Right now, I am in Chicago, born and raised in Chicago. Spent my entire career working in Chicago. My positions has been high school physical education and health teacher, dean of students, assistant principal for culture and climate, assistant principal for curriculum instruction, and I was a K-8 principal as well. And now I am a full-time professional development provider and education keynote speaker. And what I do is help teachers build trusting relationships with students who have behavior issues. And I also love to work with principals to improve the culture and climate of their school. So, hey, that's what it's all about. That's what I'm all about. I would say my favorite position in my career had to be when I was a a high school PE and health teacher. All right, because I was able to teach kids sports skills. I was able to be in a health classroom and teach students about social emotional learning. And so I would say that was my favorite. And you know what? I'm not even close to going back to being a PE teacher one day. I might do that. That would be a great way to end my career.
Why not? Exactly. Hey, a big shout out to Shika Houston, part of our Fantastic Four family. Thank you for being here. Yolanda McKinney from Texas, again, part of the Fantastic Four family. Constance Sherrard, again, part of the Fantastic Four family. Thank you for being here. Eric Francis, DOK, the man, the author, Solution Tree, everywhere guy. Talk to us.
Hey guys, nice to see everyone there. I'm Eric Francis. I write books on education. I provide professional development. And my whole thing is about basically making sure our teaching and learning is not only standards driven, but student supportive. And what I try to do out there is really try to focus on what we can do to help all our students rise to, reach, and go beyond those standards. And actually, I'm broadcasting from here from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm presenting at a conference tomorrow. I'm from Scottsdale, Arizona. And my favorite position, I think, was when I was a classroom teacher. You know, I always say, if I could go back, I would go back in a second. And to tell you the truth, I'm thinking about even next year, like when I have my downtime, not out there, traveling or providing professional learning, going back and being a substitute teacher, just kind of seeing what's going on in the classroom, trying to get a little more of a pulse, get back boots on the ground, seeing what's going on out there, because our kids need us more than ever now. I mean, there's so much going on. There's so much things happening with these kids. And what we need to do is we need to figure out how we can make teaching and learning not just standards driven, but student supportive, so we can make the experience meaningful, measurable, and motivating for all. And David, I want to thank you because, you've been supporting a bunch of us, inviting a bunch of us back to the conference. So we really appreciate you for bringing us all together and keeping us, spreading a good word in North Carolina, where I've been doing a lot of work actually lately. And I think a lot of that has to do with going to your conference. So thank you. Just want to take a time out to say that to you as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate you, brother. Greetings to Melissa Jones Jr. from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Fantastic Four family. And Dana Williams, soon to be a guest here on the PGP podcast. Who's that lady right there? She's wearing matching shirts. I don't know. She might be part of a podcast I know about that has a lot of episodes with a lot of famous people, educators. Talk to us, Dr. Moreno.
You know, Josh, thank you so much for allowing me to be a panelist this time. So thank you. I'm not the co-host, but you know what? And thank you again. The NCMLE group here is amazing. I'm super excited. It's my first time going. But let me answer the question really fast. So who am I? So I am a former CTE teacher. I was an assistant principal for 10 years. I was a principal at all levels, early childhood, middle, and high school for 18 years. And now I'm the CEO of Newcomer Success. I am travel the country, actually go international now and do work abroad. I've gone to Cuba, Guatemala. I've just got back from Tanzania. And so, yeah, I'm super excited. My favorite role, obviously, is going to be being a principal, because I was able to really change the lives of teachers, students, community, and really support my staff in ways that I never thought I could imagine. So I was super excited to be school principal. And so super excited again to be here and to be amongst all of you guys. Oh, my goodness. And just like you said earlier, it's 3 weeks, right, David? 3 weeks away.
No, we're 2 weeks away.
Oh, my God, 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away. I need to check my calendar. But yeah, super excited. I can't wait to be there.
You better check your flights too there, Dr. Moreno.
Right.
Oh, trust me. I got the flights back in December, buddy, when it was on sale.
Yeah, she's been kicking my behind getting everything done with the logistics of going there. And so this takes us a great segue, Eric, the great segue on that and on the next question. Because you see, I like I said, I like going to a bunch of conferences, whether it be paid by the district or myself. And there I learn about people like Darren. I learn about people like Don, and I see what the right fit at that moment is about Eric and bring him to our campus. Because like you said, that's how you learn from other individuals in different parts of the country. And when I saw this conference last year. I'm like, wow, this is a local state conference in North Carolina. And I was looking at it and I'm like, wow, is it worth going over there? And we do think about that when it's out of pocket. You all know that. When it's out of pocket, you got to think about the expenditure of an airplane and everything. But when I saw the lineup, I was just amazed and I was tickled because it's not a normal setup. And I can say that not to put anyone else down because I love all the other conferences, but this has a specific original setup as compared to NASSP, TASSP, so on and so forth, ASCD, just by the way it starts on Sunday. But we're not going to get there because David's going to talk about that later. Not right now, David, later. So we're going to start off with you, David. I want you to give us just an overview of the conference, its history behind it, because you're talking to that person in Tennessee that might be interested, that person in Colorado that might be interested, that person in Wyoming that might be interested, like I was, and I followed it on social media. And so talk to people about that. What is the origins of this conference and how it's evolved? And then to all the panel after he's done, how were you attracted to the North Carolina Middle School Conference? All right. So that's your original question, David. And then the panelists, what attracted you to that conference? David, go.
Yeah, so when I started in about 2020 with NCMLE, we were kind of in a tough spot. We had been in Greensboro for a few years and we're inviting 600, 700 people there. But 2020 hit us really hard as far as conference attendance and everything that we were able to do. So we went to a virtual conference in 2020, and then we rebounded in 21 and 22. But after the virtual piece, we wanted to shake things up a little bit and move it around. So we moved the conference to Charlotte, which it turned into kind of a destination place for a lot of people to come into. So it turned into a North Carolina kind of state-based conference to exactly what that is, but also inviting people nationwide into Charlotte Douglas Airport, which provided the transportation piece that you guys have already kind of talked about, and people coming in from all around the country. So then the attendance is what it was for a little bit, but then we've kind of made our way back into that 500 participant number. So it's a great place to come. It's warm at the end of March, which is different than what a lot of people in the country are dealing with. And it's a destination, and it's a place where a lot of people can come to network. My favorite part of the whole conference is just bringing people just into one place that are passionate, excited, and are like-minded individuals that love middle level education. And although we're a middle school based conference, we do have all kind of sessions, 120 plus sessions that range from all grade spans to EDU leadership to all kinds of topics. So we've got the featured speakers piece, which bring a tremendous amount of value into our conference that has been new the last few years. But let's not forget about the North Carolina educators that are coming in to pour into North Carolina educators. And these are some of the most compassionate and incredibly talented individuals in the whole country. These teachers are just incredible in their work, and they bring so much value into our conference, pouring into middle school teachers. So that's a little bit about the history of the conference in itself. Like I said, we're back in Charlotte for number 4, and I'm going to toss it over to Darren because he has been this will be his 3rd year, and he's serving as our keynote address this year, which we're really excited for him to kick off on Monday night. So, Darren, what did I miss for NCMLE 2025?
Man, I think you hit it really, really well. There's so much about this conference that has the national conference feel to it. I mean, all of us on this panel have been to a bunch of national conferences, and a lot of us have been to a lot of state level conferences, but this one just has that national conference feel. And I think it's not just because of the incredible lineup of featured speakers like the people on the screen and so many others. It's, man, the people from North Carolina that bring it to the table are just absolutely stellar. I know this year we have the North Carolina State Teacher of the Year is a middle school teacher, and she is going to be at the conference. She'll be presenting. It is an absolutely incredible conference. And I'll tell you, Josh, what drew me to it was really just, it was a good friend of mine who reached out. The last 2 years, the keynote speaker has been Jonathan Alsheimer, and Jonathan and I are really good friends. And he reached out to me 2 years ago, and he's like, hey, man, you got to come to this conference. It's like, I think this David James guy, I think he has got it figured out. I think this is going to be a big deal. And Jonathan connected me with David and with Kim Lynch, who is the correct me if I'm wrong, David. Kim is the president of NCMLE. Kim is an absolute rock star and just so passionate about middle school education. We had a few conversations, and before you knew it, it went from, hey, come and present to, hey, come be like our opening night keynote, if you will. It wasn't really a keynote, but it was a keynote, just wasn't on the big stage. Since that point in time on, David just continues to come up with amazing new ideas. And I'm telling you, this conference is on a different level. It's just, I can ramble on this for hours, so I'm gonna just stop, but I'm gonna say, man, it's on another level.
Thank you for sharing that. Hey, shout out to one of the presenters, Sean Gaylord. I got you right here, brother. I got you right there.
Our guy right there.
Right there.
Mhm.
Thank you for being here. Eric Francis, how did you get connected, brother?
I always apply to conferences, and I like really doing the conferences at the state level because you get really down into what's going on in the state and seeing the teachers there. But one of the things I really love about NCMLE is that they allow us to share. And sometimes, look, Don and Darren and I, we're consultants, or lack of a better word. And a lot of times people think that we go to these conferences to sell. We're not salespeople. We're still educators. And what do educators do? We're there to share. So when I go there and I'm presenting, I'm not there trying to sell my book or trying to get you to work in professional development. I am there to basically go and basically share ideas. It's your choice if you want to go and take it to the next level. And, David, you've really given us a great forum. You've really cared enough to bring us in, because that's the thing. And when we come in, it's basically saying, what can we do to enhance teacher instruction, encourage student learning in North Carolina? And you guys have some great educators in that state. I've been blessed and fortunate to work with a number of districts. I've worked with Selma Smithfield up by Raleigh. David, what is it? Is it Raleigh or Raleigh? Tell me what it is.
It's Raleigh.
All right, Raleigh. Thank you. Because tomato, I get with that. I've been doing some great work in Montgomery County this year and in Iredell, Statesville. And you guys have in North Carolina that mantra and mindset where you want to learn, and you want to basically, you're willing and wanting to not only learn but also lead. So that's been really a great thing, and just really just feeling so welcome. That's the thing. Sometimes when you go to conferences, you feel like you're just this element. Sometimes you feel like you're the sideshow act compared to what's going on in the three-ring circus that's happening. But you really feel like you're one of the leaders there. You're one of the contributors there. So that's really what part of the magic of this conference is, and why I enjoy coming back. I mean, when you guys had the call for presenters, because we have to apply. I mean, we don't just get invited and say, oh, you're Eric Francis, you're Darren Papar, you're Don Parker, we want you there. We have to apply. I mean, it's not something that, we just get invited because of who we are. We get invited because why we are, how we are, who we are. And that's a great thing about that. So again, thank you, David. And I owe you a coffee or a drink when I see you in a couple of weeks.
And that's one of the things that I noticed, David, going to North Carolina. Obviously, there's an awkwardness because I had never been there, but to a local conference, it felt very comfortable. You're not sheep-herded like in some of these big conferences. There was a lot of attention to detail, hospitality, for lack of a better term, as someone that went there to learn from other educators. So kudos to you and to your group that did such an awesome job. Obviously, going to do another great job this coming up 2 weeks. Dr. Don Parker, how did you get involved?
Hey, well, I met most of you guys. I'm active on X. And so I'm on X, pretty frequently, and keeping up with, what other great educational leaders are doing in the field. People who are in current leadership positions as far as superintendents, principals, and also professional development providers and education speakers. And when I was just looking through X, like NCMLE always came up. So I was like, hey, I wonder what this conference is about. You know what I mean? And, there's a quote that says, if one wants friends, he must first show himself friendly. And so David, he showed himself friendly to me. Like, he reached out to me and said, hey, you know what? I would like for you to, consider being a speaker at our upcoming conference. I was like, say less, bro. I'm there. Sign me up. Let me know what I need to do. And so that's how I became familiar with NCMLE, just being on X and just seeing it pop up all the time. And it really piqued my interest. And I was like, yeah, I would love to come and be a part of these other great speakers and presenters and educators that participate in this conference.
Love it. Thank you for sharing that, Don. Appreciate you. Dr. Moreno.
So I got involved because of you, Josh. You actually talked about NCMLE like a whole year in advance, even before the 2025, showcase kind of started advertising and whatnot. Because you said to me, we were talking, I think we were doing this podcast together. And then afterwards, we were just bantering. And you were talking about how it's important to branch out and go to other places. And so I'm so used to the NASSP, the TASSP. I'm the president or past president of Text TESOL, which is Teachers Educating Students of Other Languages. I go to NABE, TABE. So I go to all of those conferences. And you're right. It's almost sometimes not really authentic. So you were talking to me about this particular conference and you were saying, hey, let's go. But you told me I have to pay out of pocket because the district doesn't pay, for me to go to another state conference. And so when you said that, it really spoke to my heart because one, we're going to another state, right? And number two, it's out of pocket. You're not getting somebody else to pay, which means you better make sure you're getting more bang for your buck. So then I started kind of researching a little bit and I just kind of started looking at who is the lineup, who's coming over, and it's very inclusive. We're not talking about just a conference that, is North Carolina. You're bringing in people from across the country. So it does feel like a very national level conference. And so I like the feel and the hospitality, like Josh is talking about, when you're bringing people from across the country to help better serve the kids there in North Carolina. Because just like Eric was talking about, you bring speakers not because we're trying to sell something. We're there because we have maybe some ideas. We have some experiences of maybe, in my case, of going to other countries and bringing what I've learned from these other countries to our educators here. And you give us that platform, right, in this particular conference. And so I was super excited. I told Josh, I'm telling you, I got our tickets back in December because I wanted to make sure that we had our tickets, had everything we needed so that we can, and I wanted to be in the hotel because I didn't want to walk anywhere. And Josh told me the story, but we're not going to go there. About last year's conference. And I told Josh, I don't want to die. So I made sure that we're in the hotel where the conference is at. And Josh, I have your room, sir. We're all going to be good. And I'm super excited.
Darren, remember I told you I wasn't staying at the hotel?
Oh, I do. Yeah.
David, I'll tell you where I stayed. Oh, Lord. I was in the wrong red light district, but we'll leave it at that. I
thought that Dr. Moreno was talking about, the Brazilian steakhouse and how that nearly killed all
that's
of us.
coming.
I'm glad you brought that up because can we make an agreement right now
Parker,
that we're going back to the Brazilian steakhouse?
Because, dude, you're going to need the room.
No, we're going to go to the Brazilian steakhouse.
We got to go back to the Brazilian.
Yes.
If I can add also one
fantastic.
thing, David, and this is really an attribute to you and how you do this. Darren's the keynote, and a lot of times when you go to conferences, it's like you have the keynote, and then it's like the special guest stars. You don't make us feel like that. We're all like, we all, not even like you're a featured speaker or anything. Whoever is contributing, we all feel like it's level ground and common ground. It's going to say the word equitable. And that's awesome about it. It's equitable in how we're treated. Because, Darren's the keynote, but we feel like we're all a part of that. And when you create that forum where, we get to all contribute. And it's not just the people who are authors and presenters, it's the people who are, the educators in the classroom, boots to the ground that are there. You make everyone feel valued. And that's really, I think, the magic of your conference, is that we don't feel like Darren's the keynote, and then there's Don and me who have authors, and then you have Marie and Josh. We're all equitable in how we are. I mean, Darren, we've been to conferences where we felt that way, where it's like there's the keynote and it's like, okay, there's a sideshow. That's the thing. And I just want to say thank you for that, because that's really, as a presenter, that's really something that's really strong and really excellent about what you do.
Great.
Hey, you know what? You know what reminds me of that too? I remember back when I was younger, like in college, and I was, starting to look for a mate to be serious with. And it was like two girls who I was really interested in. Mm-hmm. And I was getting some advice from my uncle. I was like, man, I like both of these girls. And he was like, well, which one is the most interested in you? And he was like, here's my advice to you, Don. He's like, don't choose the one who you want the most. Choose the one who wants you the most. And you know what? Shout out to David, because everyone knows, like everyone on this call, when you submit proposals to present at conferences, and sometimes your proposal gets rejected. And like Darren and Eric has said earlier, sometimes like you're a speaker, but it's like you're just another speaker, But you know what? David, like, he reached out to us, he asked us, and I was so happy just to get that invitation. I remember the advice that my uncle gave me. So hey, David was choosing me, so 100% I'm choosing his conference as well. Let's go.
But we still had to apply. I mean, it wasn't just like we were anointed and said, okay, you're Don Parker, you're Eric Francis, you're Darren Papard. We want you here because you're this marquee. No, we had to actually apply. And David had to say, okay, yeah, you got something, quality there that, our teachers will benefit with. We're not there becoming because of the, Darren, I'm going to say it, edu celebrity. We're coming because of the substance that we present. And that's David, that's how you make us feel. Like, you make us feel like we're coming because we have substance. And that's something we really appreciate.
All right. Awesome, Eric. Eric, man, I got you, bro. Yeah. I love the way you express yourself. Shika, yes.
Some people
get together on the 21st, Shika. We're gonna have. I'm not gonna eat fish. Mari, we're not gonna eat fish with Shika, right? No, we're not. We're gonna eat beef, but you could tell Tammy and Arcela. I want to meet you too when we get there. Hopefully, we could get together. All right, let's go into the meat and potatoes of this. Let's give a tinge, Dr. Don Parker. What is your goal for your session? And just give a brief summary. Just give a taste.
All right. So the goal for my session is always to help grow leaders and practitioners on how they can improve the cultural climate in their classrooms and how they can better connect with their students in order to motivate them and encourage them to be not only successful learners, but also just successful people in life. So the goal for my session is to help teachers and educators build those trusting relationships with students who may have challenging behavior, to get them to better practice pro-social behaviors, perform better in the classroom, and then also have empathy and mutual respect for the teacher and their peers.
Thank you for sharing that, Dr. Moreno.
So the goal for my session really is to support multilingual learners. I know there's lots of multilingual learners in the East Coast. And so that's as people say, that's my jam. I love working with newcomers. I was a successful newcomers principal, according to Rice University in Houston, Texas, who did a study on my tenure at 20 years in the seat. It proves how well I performed with the greatest teachers that I could have in my life. So I was super happy about that. Again, helping teachers do this. So I've traveled to 13 countries. What I want to do is really look at the 13 different countries that I've traveled to, and then bring those best practices. How can we use what I learned from these 13 different countries so that my educators there in North Carolina can say, you know what, I have lots of kids from Cuba, I have lots of kids from Africa, I have lots of kids from Guatemala, wherever they're from. What did I learn from those places that I can then share with them so that we can build that relationship? It's so hard to build a relationship so quickly. But I promise you, if you ask the right questions, you give the right tidbit of information for the kids, they're going to say, "Ooh, she knows my language, she knows my culture, she knows my country." And how then they can build those relationships much more quickly because we are speaking to their heart and we're building those relationships. And so that's really the essence of the session there. So I'm super excited. Every time I talk about my trip to Tanzania and what I learned. When we have kids from Uganda, Kenya, and from Eastern Africa, it's really interesting to see how if you just kind of give them a little bit, they eat ugali there, for example. Most of the people there. And so if you talk to the kids, it's like, oh, do you eat ugali? They're gonna smile because guess what? No one else knows that, right? Because you know that now that you have a little bit of background information. So little things like that that really support kids is what I hope to share there in North Carolina.
Awesome. Can Shika Houston eat ugali?
Absolutely.
All right, love it. Hey, Nick Edwards, Saturday Reflections on X. Check him out. I think he's not going because he's still full from the Brazilian steakhouse from last year. I think that's why he's not going. He just can't eat another bite of those ribs that were going. Andrea Bidner, a fellow Jaguar that's been to MPA, also a presenter. Thank you for being there. And Arcelia, let's make a point of connecting. Awesome. Eric Francis, what's your goal, brother?
So here's a couple of questions I'm going to ask you. What does deeper teaching and learning look like, sound like, and feel like? We know our kids are engaged, but how do we know that they're educated? And how can we ensure that our kids are learning at the level demanded by our standards and our activities and assessments? And that's what my 2 sessions are going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about how we can use depth of knowledge, DOK, not only as a concept and a framework, but also a language that clarifies what exactly and how deeply kids have to demonstrate and discuss their learning. And I'm also going to show you guys how you can teach and learn through inquiry and by questioning with good questions that will not only set the instructional focus and serve as assessments, but also personalize learning and promote deeper comprehension and communication. Because I really believe in this world where we've transitioned from a Google environment where the answers can be given to us to an AI environment where they can be explained to us. The future of education is communication. We need to be able not only to comprehend what the information is that's given to us, but also be able to communicate it in our own words. It's not what you can how deeply you can demonstrate your learning, but most importantly, what exactly and how deeply you can discuss the depth and extent of your learning. So that's what I'm going to be presenting. I'm going to be talking about how depth of knowledge can be used as a concept, framework, and language. And then I'm going to be talking about how you can teach and learn through inquiry and by questioning with good questions.
Thank you. I've sat in many of his sessions at the state and national level. That cat's on fire right there. I highly suggest that you go to that guy right there. He's on fire.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Row 2. Awesome.
That's me. There we go. So I got three. And I'll start with I'll start with my 2 breakouts, and then I'll talk about the keynote real quick. I will tell you this: one of the 2 breakouts that I'm going to do is all about leaders. And David asked earlier, hey, is there something that I missed? David, I think we both missed the entire track just for school leaders, the entire leadership pathway that you can go and hear so many amazing things. If you're a school leader, a district leader, an aspiring leader, man, there's so many great things in there. And included in that is my session, Leaning into Leadership. And in that particular session, folks, it is all about stop being a firefighter and start being a leader in your school. So many schools that I work with. I'm in Virginia right now. I'm working with a school the next 2 days, tomorrow and Monday, all about how do you stop just running around dealing with crisis after crisis and actually put what Eric Francis is talking about, teaching and learning first. How do you find ways, put systems in place, and actually go and focus on being that coach in the classroom, that leader in the classroom? I think that is absolutely huge. So that's a session that I'm going to do. Another session I'm going to do, and David James, feel free to cut me off at any point in time if I let the cat too far out of the bag, but I will be partnering with Dr. Frederick Buskey, who is an educator originally from Ohio, who lives in North Carolina now. He's one of the featured speakers. But Frederick and I partnered up with NCMLE, and we are creating the North Carolina Leadership Excellence Network, which is a cohort specifically for supporting middle school administrators in the state of North Carolina. And Frederick and I are going to be talking about that work for this school year. It's a full year-long cohort. Man, we cannot be more excited about this. I'll stop there because I think David probably wants to talk a little bit more about it. But those are my 2 sessions that I'm going to do. And then my keynote is all about my brand new book. I co-authored a book with Katie Kinder. It comes out on March 17th. It's called Culture First Classrooms. And I'm going to be doing the keynote from that book. We're going to talk about what does it take to build a culture first classroom. And it's 7 very specific steps. There are 23 contributors to our book. I think I'll probably talk about the book a little bit later, but I'm going to share some of the insights that those 23 contributors, along with myself and Katie Kinder, put together in this book to really light a fire and get everybody to the bottom line, which is this: culture has to come first in your classroom.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Shout out to George Does PBL, was on our show last week, our happy show with Katie Kinder last week also. Happy show number 2. And Dr. Edwin Garcia from New Jersey, part of the Fantastic Four family. Thank you for being here. Appreciate that. And it's that time real quick before we hand it over to David about what are we doing there. So let's start out. Dr. Moreno, any of your books you like to promote right now?
Not yet, sir. I'm working on it.
Dr. Don Parker.
Say less. All right, here we go. All right, Building Bridges. This book is almost like a love note to teachers from my work in working with students who have challenging behaviors and students from historically marginalized communities who may also have a lot of trauma in their life. So this is a book, Building Bridges, on how teachers can build trusting relationships with students who have trauma and students who have challenging behavior. And so this really is a summary of my work working with those students, my dissertation work, and my work as a school discipline, a school assistant principal for culture and climate, and also as a principal. And then Darren was talking about leadership. All right, so I cannot forget about my educational and district leaders. This book is called Be the Driving Force, Leading Your School on the Road to Equity. And this summarizes my work as a school leader, where I work in schools to increase the culture and climate and just make equitable spaces for teachers and students. Equity meaning giving each person what they need in order to reach their full potential. So we need to give teachers what they need in order to reach their full potential so they can have maximum impact on student growth and student learning. And then we also have to give students what they need so they can reach their full potential to be not only successful in school, but also in life. And so, yes, I would love to get on that leadership track with you, Darren, and do a session on how can educational leaders be the driving force so that they can improve the culture and climate of the school for everyone.
All right, before I hand it over to Eric, a little plug on my end. Superintendent Glenn Robbins, Calm, Be in the Chaos. Great book for us leaders. This is a time, stay tests. We need to stay cool and focused. Think. Kevin Curtis, Discipline. Remember, we get no money out of this because it's great stuff, so I promote it. Kevin Curtis on how to do discipline at a campus level. There's this guy that wrote part of a book here with Barbara Bray, 23 inspiring stories of educators. Y mi hermano on his second podcast, Sean Gaylord, The Pepper Effect, who will be at the North Carolina Middle School Conference. Check out all this information. It's all free PD for all of you. Eric Francis, what you got, brother?
Well, I'm presenting, first of all, my book called Deconstructing Depth of Knowledge, a method and model for teaching and learning. And what I did with DOK is I actually turned it into a method model for teaching and learning. There's been a lot of misinformation, miscommunication about what DOK is. And what I'm going to be doing is showing you not only how you can understand and use depth of knowledge correctly, but also creatively to plan and provide teaching and learning experiences that are not only standards driven, student supportive. In fact, what if I told you one of the things I did was DOK is not a taxonomy, but I turned it into an RTI that all teaching and learning starts with the standard, tiers to the level where students are, and builds on their strengths so they can rise to, reach, and go beyond that DOK bar set by the standard. And I'm going to share some of the stuff I've been doing with Arkansas schools. North Carolina schools. Don't know where I am. North Carolina schools, because I'm doing stuff with Arkansas schools too. But North Carolina schools about some of the work we've been doing with DOK. The other one's going to be my book, Inquiring Minds Want to Learn, which is going to be a year old next month. And so I wrote a book called Now That's a Good Question many years ago about identify the 8 different questions that promote cognitive rigor. But this one's about how do you use those questions to create teaching and learning experiences, again, that are standards driven, student supportive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you multiple ways to teach and learn through inquiry and by questioning with good questions, with strategies that you can take back tomorrow. In fact, what if I told you that I am going to show you how you can turn all your academic standards into a good question with just 3 simple words? And in fact, me saying, what if I told you, is basically one of the ways I'm going to teach you how to teach and learn with an inquiring mind, because now you're not going to lecture. Every time you want to say something, you're going to say, what if I told you, to make teaching and learning not just instructional, but invitational. So these are my 2 books. You're probably wondering why I have these in a hotel room right now, is because I am going to be at a conference. They are going to be available there. David, thank you so much for allowing all of us time to do an autograph on a book, and maybe we'll do some raffle prizes when we're there too.
Thank you for sharing that. All right, Darren, I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully I don't bust.
I'll show this one really fast,
Okay,
because I know you're pulling the new one, but this was book number 2 for me, or maybe book number 3. I have 2 versions of Road to Awesome. I talked about the leadership piece. That's what that is. But here's the new one right here, queuing up right there. Culture First Classrooms, Leadership, Relationships, and Practices that Transform Schools. Folks, I am telling you what, this one right here is all about build culture in your classroom first. We talk so much about school culture. Everybody talks about school culture, and everybody does it so well in their own unique way. What Katie and I did was we set out to write a book about classroom management. And very quickly, we discovered classroom management is not the correct term. The correct term is classroom culture. It's building that culture where relationships are important, where you are leading in the classroom and students have the opportunity to lead, where you're creating that inclusive and intentional environment, where it's student-centered practices, where we're really focusing on engagement in the classroom, not responding to behavior, where we're focused on trauma, where we're focused on healing, building a culture of community, and ultimately where we're thinking about accountability and growth and about our own legacy as educators. We have 23 educators from across the United States, including David James right there on the screen, as contributors to this book. And they shared such amazing things. And here's the thing about this book, Josh. What Katie and I did was we didn't just say, hey, anybody want to contribute to our book? Every single person who has written in this book, Katie and I have either been in their district, their school, or their classroom. And in most cases, we've either supported their schools or we have worked alongside them. Now, there's nothing wrong with just asking people to contribute. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But we wanted people we had seen in action, that we knew personally, that we had that great connection with. And so the 23 people who contributed to this book, holy cow, what they brought is off the charts. It's going to be live on March 17th. we cannot wait to put this in people's hands, because this is absolutely a resource that helps the brand new teacher, or the baby teacher, as Katie loves to call them, the mid-career teacher who's maybe just a little bit stuck in the mud, the veteran teacher who just, man, I need something to light my fire again. This book is all about building culture, starting in the classroom with you, the teacher, as the leader of that classroom. And man, as you can probably tell, I'm really fired up about it, but I'm also extremely proud of it, because this was an opportunity to shine the spotlight on 23 absolutely stellar educators from across the country who are doing brilliant work on behalf of kids every single day. And Katie and I just happen to have a platform to allow them to do that.
Thank you. And she did a great job. Is she going to be, I didn't see her name on the list. Is she going to be here this year?
No, unfortunately, Katie will not be at NCMLE, which is a bummer. She and I got to present together.
Yeah.
And actually, last year at the conference, we presented together about what we thought this book was going to be. What we talked about isn't remotely close to what the book became, but that's okay.
I still walk around with a skeleton hand she gave me in my hallways, so I love it.
You got to get the teal glasses. We got to use some of those teal glasses.
Agreed. Hey, and you know what? When I stated earlier that this conference does not provide that big feel, just go to this session. Where's your badge? This session. This, you know what I'm talking about, right? This is more caring. Let's get to know each other. So I'm gonna throw this out there to the big kahuna himself, David James. Let everybody out there, let them know about these activities. I remember the karaoke. I'm not gonna steal your thunder, because I know you're meticulous in setting this up, the luncheons, the awards, everything that goes with that. Tell the audience, what can they expect attending North Carolina Middle School Conference?
Yeah, appreciate give me a chance to talk about it, Josh. And before I go any further, Heather Myers, who is our incoming president, is active on the chat here tonight and with us. And just a shout out to our NCMLE board of directors, especially our conference planning committee that has been so active. This is a 365-day-a-year project. As soon as we get finished up here in about 2 weeks at the end of March, we're going to be planning next year's, and Heather is already excited about launching the 2026 theme. So that is going to be launched on the passing of the gavel and the closing ceremony. So shout out to all those individuals. Darren mentioned Kim Lynch, the current president, our awards committee, and the conference planning committee, our schools to watch committee, everybody that is active with NCMLE and part of this whole project. So big shout out to them. But yeah, the schedule is jam-packed. We start on Sunday evening. We're going to talk about the featured speaker roundtable here in just a moment. But to talk about the fun social events specifically, we like to take care of our people. Our middle school educators like to work hard and they like to play hard, and they come to Charlotte to really enjoy themselves. We do have an on-site hotel, which registration is available to go and reserve your room. So go to ncmle.org to get your reservation for the on-site hotel, which is, right upstairs, and then right downstairs is the social lounge. We have a really fun spot right there in the hotel where on Sunday night, we are going to enjoy trivia night. We have so many giveaways this year. We've got all kinds of NCMLE swag that we just ordered for this year. We have books to give away from our featured speakers, and we have so much stuff to celebrate just in these 3 jam-packed days. So trivia night is Sunday evening, and then Monday night is a Monday mixer with DJ Mike and our AV sponsor, Tar Heel Media. So Tar Heel Media is a local company that just, puts everything to life there in all the rooms. And you will be amazed at the work Tar Heel Media does. And they sponsor and they highlight our Monday mixer. So come out and have a lot of fun with your crew. Get away a little bit. I think the best part about our conference as well is that it's at the end of March. So our conference attendees kind of leave with this feeling of rejuvenation and excitement to come back into the school year. And they get that from all the participants that they enjoy and network with. So take advantage of the trivia night, the Monday night mixer there in the social lounge. If you want to step away and have a nice dinner in Uptown Charlotte, obviously go do that. We provide bus service by one of our sponsors. Burke Educational Travel provides a charter bus to what we call Optimus Hall here in Charlotte, which provides kind of a an upscale cafeteria food court, which has all kind of options. So, get you a free ride out to Optimus Hall, come back, enjoy the social nights, have a few drinks. We have some EDU inspired drinks this year. One that's called Teacher Tea and another that's called Professor Punch, I believe. I've got to verify that, but we got some fun things going on, and we're very meticulous. We're very detail oriented, and we know exactly what our people like, and we know exactly how to get that done. So we've got it all at Middle School Matters Conference 2025. Not only these incredible individuals that you'll see on our screen, but the other 120 plus breakout sessions that you are going to just learn an incredible amount within our conference. But again, network. Get to know other people from across the state, and just enjoy yourself. So that's a little bit about the fun. You mentioned the NCMLE awards. If I could just take a moment to just shout out all the excellence in North Carolina. So on Monday at 12:15, we are going to be handing out the NCMLE annual awards and celebrating our schools to watch statewide as well. So every year, we hand out, we do nominations, and we do awards. And these are the best and the brightest across the state. So we are going to be celebrating our educators to watch, school administrators to watch, teaching teams, just a whole host of other awards that is just an incredible celebration of excellence. And then our schools to watch group, we're going to be celebrating 8 to 12 different schools that are going to be there, that are going to be initial designations of schools to watch, which is an incredible honor. And then redesignations as well. We have a school out of South Charlotte that has been redesignated 7 times. So you want to talk about excellence in middle school. These are individuals, and this is a school that has just carried the banner for school excellence for a very long time. And we love to celebrate them at the NCMLE Awards Luncheon on Monday. I'll drop the schedule back into the chat one more time, but we got a lot going on, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it, Josh.
No, well, thank you. And just like carve in 2 or 3 minutes, I appreciate you taking in my proposal, and I'll be discussing branding. Branding, you see, everything that I do and I put out there on X, like I met Don Parker via a podcast on X. Mm-hmm. Eric Francis reached out to me and we connected. The Road to Awesome, same thing. It was all networked via social media. If it wasn't for me putting stuff out into the zone, insert your zone, I would not have met. You know what, Dr. Moreno, the same thing. We would not have met if it's not by putting out the fabulous things that are going on, and still happening at my humble home. And putting that out there, success breeds success. And you know what? I will not allow someone else defining what MPA is on a Facebook page. I will define what it is based on what I put out there. And what I put out there is nothing but success and gains, but most importantly, like Dr. Don Parker says, relationships with our kids. And so if you want to pick up and learn something about that, it'll be the first session on Tuesday at 10 o'clock. I will be there with my awesome presentation ready to go. And I appreciate you again, David James. And I threw him for a loop. Hey, and also Nick Edwards. I learned about him also on social media. I love it. So here we go. The Ganas questions. David James like, Josh, what is that? What are you talking about? Well, David James has not heard the PGP podcast, but it's okay. There's always a format to everything. There's always a format. Just like Darren Pepper always asks the last question. How are you going to lean into? He always ends it. Yeah. Always. There's always a closing. So we're going to start off with Darren because he's a Jaguar. Just like Andrea Bidner. Yeah. She's a Jaguar. Just like Marie Moreno. And right there we talk one word. One word, David James, and I know you might not know it. Ganas is a spiritual word used by all Hispanics. Eric knows. He's from Arizona. And I'm not talking about a silly movie. I'm talking about that is what great-grandmothers tell their kids. Their grandmothers tell their daughters, their grandchildren, and their brothers tell brothers, échale ganas. So when you answer these questions, yo quiero puras ganas. And we're going to start off. And I changed. All of you have been on the show before. And Mari, I'm going to mention you. So I changed the questions because I didn't want to cheat again.
We did.
I changed them. I go, nah, these guys are going to give me the same silly answers. I'm changing it. So here we go. Quick. Don't make me go. The only one you can take time on is number 2. That's the only one. Here we go. Road to Awesome, publisher, author, speaker, recovering high school principal. Give advice to a new administrator.
Focus on teaching and learning. Stop running around chasing the crisis.
Read a note, an email, a text from a teacher or student that inspired you.
Man, I got a note just a couple of days ago from a former middle school student of mine telling me that he was going to be the lead referee at a championship game at a junior college where he's been working on this referee career for years and years and years. I had him as a middle school student. He reached out to me to simply tell me, hey, thank you for being you. Thank you for supporting me. I wouldn't be the man I am today without you.
Love it. Eso. Send some flowers to a current educator that inspires you.
I'm going to send flowers today to a young lady named Tanya Fallum. And Tanya and I taught together. We worked together at Rock Springs High School when I was the principal. She's one of the contributors to our book. But I'm going to tell you this. She is a special education teacher. She's a special education coach now in her district. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of people have equal, but nobody has a bigger heart for kids than Tanya Fallum. So I'm throwing flowers to Tanya Fallum.
Love it. One person people should follow on social media.
I'm going to go with Bentley Lewis. Bentley Lewis is the principal at Oak Brook Middle School in, I can't remember the town, but she's in South Carolina. She has flipped that middle school in 3 years. She has completely changed the culture, completely changed the outcomes. She's doing amazing things. If you want to know more, go on my podcast and search like 20 episodes or so ago. Bentley Lewis. That's who you need to follow.
Love it. Bentley, saludos. Which Marvel or DC character would you be, sir, and why?
I was torn between Batman and Iron Man, and here's why. Because they weren't born with it. They went out and made it happen, right? So either one, I'm going to say Iron Man just because I think Iron Man's cool. So I'm going to say that because you know what? He went and he made it happen. He wasn't born with these genetic gifts. He made it happen.
You need to pick me up. What's your song?
Oh, man. Cinderella Man by Eminem.
Oh, I love it. What is your favorite fast food restaurant? And what do you like to eat there?
In-N-Out Burger, everything animal style. Double animal style, fries animal style. Let's go. I know it's terribly unhealthy. Don Parker's probably rolling his eyes at me. But, hey, you know what? You just spend more time on the bench, bro. It's all good.
What's your favorite reality show?
You know what? It's the National Football League. That's the best. That is the best reality TV on TV, period.
How can people get a hold of the Road to Awesome?
Man, you find me at Darren M. Peppard literally everywhere. And go to roadtoawesome.net. That's where you find me.
And tell them of your over 180 podcasts. What's the name of your podcast?
My podcast is the Leaning Into Leadership podcast.
Great show. Awesome. Dr. Don Parker, make us smile. Give advice to a new administrator.
Oh, okay. So I love this advice by Simon Sinek when he says, leaders, it's not that you're the person in charge, but you have to take care of those who are in your charge. So just the same amount of energy that we spend making sure that our students are fine, social and emotionally, have to do the same to make sure that our staff, teachers, and everyone who works in our building are also fine, healthy, socially and emotionally. So we have to take care of our students because it's tough right now. Take care of our staff because it's tough right now. A lot of staff are burning out.
Doc Parker, it's a lightning round.
All right, sorry.
It's a lightning round. Here we go. Read a note, an email, a text from a teacher or student that inspires you.
Real quick, Coach Parker, I appreciate everything you did for me. I became a PE teacher because of you.
Love it. Send some flowers to a current educator that inspires you.
Okay. All right. I have to give a shout out to a early childhood teacher named Miss Brown, and she inspires me. I seen a presentation that she did on neuroscience and behavior in early child care students, and it was just awesome.
Name one person people should follow on social media.
All right. You got to follow my boy, Will Parker. He wrote the foreword for my book, Be the Driving Force, Leading Your School on the Road to Equity. He also coaches a lot of great school leaders. And, we got the same last name, so I call him my brother from another mother.
And he has a great podcast also. Follow Will Parker's podcast. What
Principal
Marvel?
Matters. Principal Matters is the name of his podcast. Principal Matters.
Thank you for sharing that. What Marvel or DC character do you identify with?
Oh, you know what? It will have to be the Incredible Hulk, because I've been doing a really good job being socially aware and maintaining my anger management. But sometimes if I get too mad, I turn green.
I believe it. I believe it. What's your favorite song to get motivated? You need to pick me up.
Oh, you know what? It's all I do is win, 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 no matter what.
All right. I wrote this question just for you, Dr. Don Parker. What's your favorite fast food restaurant?
Hey,
What do you eat there?
It's got to be Burger King. It's got to be the Whopper, because who doesn't like having it their way? There you go.
What's your favorite reality show?
Oh man, favorite reality show has to be. I challenged my other namesake DP. He said NFL. I'm going NBA.
All right. How can people get a hold of you, young man?
All right. So my website is Dr. Don Parker, drdonparker.com. And I am at Dr. Don Parker on all of my social medias, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. Hit me in any of those places.
Easy to find. He's easy to find. Dr. Mari Moreno, give advice to a new administrator.
Build strong relationships with leaders and students. Trust fosters engagement and learning.
Read a note, an email, a text from a teacher or student that inspired you.
This is a little flower that they gave me with the little note, and it says, "Dear Dr. Moreno, te quiero decir gracias. I want to tell you thank you. Since I got here, you have made me feel You've made me feel like really loved. You brought me some stuff, and I'm really grateful. So something you should know about me is that I'm in CPS, and I'm currently living in RTC, where before I was in 2 other ones." She kind of goes into details, but at the end she says, "Thank you so much for believing in me, for seeing me, and for trusting me. I will always love you."
Beautiful. Eso. Send some flowers to a current educator that inspires you.
My flowers are going to go to Steve Amstutz. I wouldn't be the person I am today if it wasn't for him taking me under his wing and showing me my first years of school leadership.
Who should people follow on social media? One person?
I would say it's a hashtag ELL chat, where it's a group of educators who are always sharing ideas and strategies to help other educators.
What Marvel or DC character would you be? Why?
I'm going to say Wonder Woman, because she's a warrior and a leader, and she stands for justice, strength, and compassion, balancing power with wisdom.
What song motivates you?
Eye of the Tiger by Survivor.
What is your favorite fast food restaurant, and what do you eat there?
Chick-fil-A, because I love their waffle fries and their milkshakes.
What's your favorite reality?
The Amazing Race.
How can people get a hold of you and go to Africa?
Right here at Newcomer Success at all social media platforms, TikTok, it doesn't matter. I am there. And yes, to come to Africa in July.
Maverick.
Yo,
Here we go, Maverick. Give advice to a new administrator.
sit back, listen, learn, and don't let the title get to your head.
Read a note, an email, a text from a teacher or student that inspired you.
Well, I just popped this up. This is from Mark Siliberti, who was in my 7th and 8th grade class when I taught 7th and 8th grade middle school English. He said, "I'll be applying for principal positions. I'm ready to fly. Just want to thank you for sparking and making me aware of the power of questioning. It was a catalyst for my professional growth, personal development, both academically and behaviorally. Thank you." So thank you, Mark, for that statement.
Love it. Send some flowers to a current educator that inspires you.
Jennifer Oscar, she's in Westchester, Pennsylvania. She's really a brilliant teacher. She's just got this thing with appreciative inquiry as well. And she really is just doing great stuff with kids in her classroom.
Who should people follow on social media?
Greg Wolcott or Tom Herrick?
What Marvel or DC character do you identify with? Why?
I'd like to say both, Captain America and Superman. Now, while people might say, wait a minute, those are the purest characters, I say, yeah, because in this time where it's easy to go dark, they stay true to why they are, how they are, who they are. You know, Superman, he has all those power, but really he has that pure heart with that strong farmer Midwestern value. And Captain America, he's still got the idealism of the greatest generation. So those are my two that I really go to.
What's your pick-me-up song?
Oh my gosh. If it's Van Halen, it's my pick-me-up song. David Lee Roth, Van Halen, or Sammy Hagar, Van Halen. Because when people say, do you like David Lee Roth or Sammy Hagar? I say, I like Eddie.
All right. What's your favorite fast food restaurant?
In-N-Out. Special number 2, no special sauce, lettuce, tomato, onion, ketchup, and mustard. Fries well done. When you go to In-N-Out, you got to say, fries well done. That's how you get the good fries. Either that or Panda Express.
What's your favorite reality show?
Oh, wow. You know, I'm really getting into, I really like when the WWE does those reality shows like Tough Enough. And they got a new one called LFG, which is about legends and future greats, though it means something else as well that's not suitable for work. But I really like it when you see them like training and working for something and working towards something. You know, it's just really watching them, you know, try to go and fulfill their dreams and watch the legends be teachers. I mean, teaching them how to be the professional wrestler. So that's my favorite these days.
And how can people get a hold of you, my man?
You can go to Maverick, Maverik, no CM Maverick, Maverik education.com. I'm on Twitter at Maverick, Maverik edu12. Blue Sky, which I'm making a transition over to, maverick.edu.bsky.com. Or, hey, shoot me an email, Eric, Erik, at Maverick, Maverik education.com.
Awesome. David, here we go, brother. Save the big kahuna for last. Here we go, my man. Give advice to a new administrator.
Yeah, as a school teacher right now and used to be sitting in that chair, I would say don't forget what it felt like to be a teacher. Also, selfless plug here, but send your teachers and send your leadership team to conferences. Give them the opportunity to grow. Give them the opportunity to look forward and to bring student achievement back into their classroom.
Read a note, an email, a text from a teacher or student that inspired you.
Yeah, I got one here at the beginning of the school year from a student in my homeroom, and she says, "Mr. James, I want to thank you for welcoming me into your classroom." And those words, "welcoming me," was really telling, I thought, on a level of respect and a level of the culture that I was trying to build in the classroom at the beginning of the school year. And she goes on to say that your classroom brings me joy, and I'm so happy to be in the classroom. It's such a positive feeling, and I want to thank you so much for having me this school year. So this stays right on my desk to remind me that those feelings are in my room, and that takes a lot of hard work and a lot of appreciation in my classroom.
Eso. Send some flowers to a current educator that inspires you.
Yeah, a quick shout out to the exceptional children's teacher here at Harold E. Winkler Middle School where I work. Her name is Madison Little. Madison Little is the 2025 HWMS Teacher of the Year, and she is in the top 5 at the district level of Cabarrus County Schools. She is a phenomenal teacher, phenomenal human, and just works incredibly hard for our kids in the EC department and across the building.
Who should people follow on social media?
NC Middle, at NC Middle on Twitter, and then at North Carolina Association for Middle Level Education on Facebook.
Which Marvel or DC character are you and why?
Yeah, we went this whole time, and I haven't given a shout out to my son. Aiden, my 7-year-old boy, is a second grader here with Cabarrus County Schools as well. And his little stuffed animal's name is Batman because he had a fondness for Batman when he was growing up. So Batman is my current superhero. We don't do superheroes a lot in the school, at the house, but we'll say Batman for a shout out for Aiden.
All right, perfect. What song picks you up, motivates you?
Another shout out for Aiden here. Did not tell his mother that there is some language in this song on the way to soccer games and baseball games, but we get pumped up to "Sold Out" by Hardy.
All right. Favorite fast food restaurant? What do you eat there?
Shout out to my North Carolina people, but Zaxby's is the place to go get a Zaxby's salad here in North Carolina. So you got the Buffalo Blue fried chicken salad, and while you guys are here, make sure you pick up that salad with a Z. With blue cheese dressing.
What's your favorite reality show?
Well, we live in Charlotte, so it's got to be NASCAR. NASCAR is hot and heavy here in the Charlotte area, and the NASCAR Hall of Fame is right downtown. So if you get a chance to visit the NASCAR Hall of Fame, but NASCAR's got a lot going on. They do a lot of fighting and a lot of other drama as well. So it's a lot of fun.
And how can people get a hold of you thinking of going to the conference this year or next year? How do they get a hold of you, young man?
Yeah, my personal X account is at Heroic History 22. So that's where you can find me. But again, follow NCMLE on X as well. We are going to be doing a pre-conference Twitter chat on March 19th, which is Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. So follow hashtag middle MS Matters 25. And a friend of ours, another featured speaker, P. Sloan Joseph, is going to be facilitating that Twitter chat on March 19th on our Twitter page at 7 o'clock. So again, follow us on X, on Facebook, and then join us on March 19th at 7 o'clock for a pre-conference Twitter chat, ncmle.org for all the details.
Awesome. Thank you, panel, for being here. Hold on after we sign off. Thank you out there for being here today. Again, another stellar show with great guests. Don't forget to join us next week for our third assistant principal roundtable. And after that, Todd Bloomer, he knows this guy on the road to awesome. He's going to be promoting his book. And after that, in 3 weeks, our part 2 of our Educators Physical Fit show. Don Parker, he established the routine the first show. It was so good. We're going to go for a second show, but we need you. This is free PD. You don't need a PO. You didn't use out your 199. You didn't use out your Coke money. This is all free for you. You've got podcasts, you've got books, you've got conferences, and it's all about you. Iron sharpens iron. We want to thank you for being here. Whenever it is, panel, say goodbye to everybody and see us next week.